the morning, double hookup. Nah, we're good. We're in the Carteret Canyon. It looks like we're in about 500 feet. We're just passing a lump after a long, uneventful night. And
live from Lenoka. And I'm here with George from the Wicked P, and we're gonna show you how to fillet a fish.
We're going, pack the gear, let's ride. Casting lines and dreaming on that riverside. Bring your own rain gear, the skies ain't always clear, but the fish don't mind, and neither do we here.
5:30 in the morning at the Carteret. Ballyhoo way back. Pizza tea, going to sleep. Oh, another line on! So this fish has already been bled and collared and gutted. We did that out at sea. And now we're going to show you how George will fillet the fish. We're only going to do one side because it takes a little while. But George, let's see how you fillet a fish.
All right, there's 3 things that ruin your meat. Well, 4. Not being cold. Having all the goo on it, as I say. All the slime that's on there. The guts. And a bad fillet job. So the first thing I do, as soon as I get the fish out, I try to avoid fresh water as much as possible. Fresh water is another bad thing for meat. Do all this at the offshore. Use your salt water. Salt water is never going to hurt it. When you throw your fish into the box, there's ice in it. I always throw kosher salt in there. If we have a lot of fish and a lot of ice though, I'll actually take a 5-gallon bucket, put a good couple pounds of salt in it, kosher salt, dissolve it in the salt water out there, and pour it in there. When you put salt into the ice, you're making the temperature colder. So you can actually make colder water, colder ice with salt in it. So now we're ready to fillet it. First thing I do is I always clean it off. I don't like to put fresh water on after. This fish isn't really that slimy, so I'm just gonna wipe it off.
And we caught this yesterday at the Tom's Canyon. We got 7. We got 9 actually, but we threw 2 back. And this is one of the medium-sized ones we got. Probably about 40 pounds, 30, 40 pounds.
All right, so first thing you do is you lift the peck up. I use a serrated edge knife. Don't use a serrated edge knife for everything. It tears the meat up. Up here, it's not so important. You take it, you put it underneath the fin, and you cut straight up to where you cut the head off. Okay? Do the same thing on this side here. Straight across till you get to there. Okay? Do the other side. Roll down again. All right, I'm not a big fan of the belly. I get rid of it.
Well, don't people like the belly? They call it the toro, and they make expensive sushi out of it?
They do. I don't care for it too much. When I get a tuna, it's either poke bowl or I'm going to grill it, and that's about it. Or my daughter likes to saute it in garlic and oil, which is off the charts. To me, it's the best way to eat it. I don't eat the belly part. So what I do is I take a long knife, I stick it right here, all the way to the anal. I actually have it at the anal right now. Put it right up against the cavity there, and I make an incision this way. Okay. Flip it over, do the same thing.
Hey, hold on, let me get over you.
I stick it all the way in again, come right out to the anal cavity there, and I cut it off. Now there's another reason I do that. Because there isn't a shark or mako in the world that can resist that. You put that in the water, that's a piece of candy for them. They eat that immediately. It's nice and oily and fatty, and it makes a great bait. You split the tail, you put a hook right up in here, and it's just this perfect size for any type of shark. A 200-pounder will swallow that immediately.
Yeah, but for the guys that want the toro, you just keep that and you cut the skin off.
Yeah, then you have to. Then you would skin it and cut the membrane off. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of that.
All right.
No, like I said, keep your hands clean.
We don't know where George's hands have been. I could tell you firsthand, they haven't been in good places, so.
Thank you, sir. So, this is not overkill. The bigger the blade, the sharper it is, the better cut you make. I make 1 incision straight down here, which is basically on the peck line, which is the blood line right here. I go straight up.
Hey, hold on. Let's get over here.
Straight up and cut straight through.
How deep?
All the way till you get to the spine. Okay? You want to go back on that side, Stan?
All right.
Now again, I use a straight edge knife for this because this is a very, very tough part of the fish. This here is the hardest, thickest skin of the fish right here. I use a straight edge knife, I go right in the middle, and I just go through the skin. All the way down to the tail. Now, there isn't much meat here. I'll go up a little further, and I'll show you why I don't go worry about that little bit of meat when we start filleting. Okay, now I make sure I go all the way down. Now, if you can hear this, there's a row of bones here, which I kind of cut through already with the straight edge. I'll take a straight edge, cut right through them all, pull the blade. Okay, now we have the hard part out of the way. I take a stiff boning knife. This is pretty stiff.
Is that a Dexter?
Dexter Russell. And I go straight through.
So if you remember, you used the serrated edge to get through the thick part of the top. And now it's back to...
That's the way a fillet looks when it's cold and the meat set on it overnight. That's a nice piece of solid meat. I just did that when I flipped it over with the knife, but that's a nice solid piece. I use 4 different knives when I fillet. The serrated edge, the collar, and to cut through the top part where the heavy skin is. That's pretty much it for that one. I use a stiff boning knife to fillet, which gets, you can push a little bit like that. And then I use a flat knife when I start to make longer cuts. And I'll show you how all this works out. Like this little bit here, I'll cut this off now. Get rid of it. It's just yucky stuff which you don't want to eat. Okay, there's those bones I was talking about. I cut off, and there's a bloodline. I take my straight knife, and you go and you cut down and you turn to you a little bit because the bloodline is like it sticks in the middle and it's like a little ovalish.
Yeah, you don't want that bloodline. So whenever you see that, just cut it out. It looks really dark.
It's very important to have sharp knives. Pretty much every time when I fillet, after I'm done, I sharpen my knives. And I just use one of those Chef Choice sharpeners. They're unbelievable. Okay. Now you got a nice solid piece of fillet here. You can steak them individually. We're giving a lot of this meat away. I'm not getting involved in that, so I'll just take it, put it straight down. Don't cut through. You don't want to go through the membrane and the skin here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You turn the knife, and you don't try to get it right tight to the skin, and I'll show you why. You got a nice piece of chunk here. I got a little bit of tendon in the end there, but it's not a big deal. Flip it over again. Cut the whole thing off with the flat bladed knife. That's what happens when you cut a little close. I cut it, so you can see here, I didn't leave meat here. I cut a little closer there, you leave that tendon there, which is, it's chewy. So, like I said, it didn't go close to the tail. This is another reason. I cut all that out, because you really don't want to eat that. It's not,
no, it's not good.
It's not good. The rest of it's okay. I got a little bit of blood there, I'll take off. And that's that. It's the top part of the fish.
All right.
I don't put the fish on raw ice. It's no good for it. The water starts to starts breaking it down. It bleaches the fish out. So when I do it, I have containers. I have a layer of paper towels. The fish is very, very wet still. A lot of water is going to come out of this. I'll take it. I'll leave it in here. Overnight, you won't believe how much water comes out of that. The next day, I take it off the paper towels. I leave it in my refrigerator open. I do the same thing all over again.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to do the other fish later, but thanks again, George. As always, appreciated.
Anytime.